This is global tensions, and you're about to witness the world turning on its axis. Missiles falling on cities, presidents making midnight war decisions, nuclear facilities turned to rubble, diplomacy gave way to destruction, and the ripple effects are shaking the entire world. Forget press conferences and polite statements. This is the raw, unfiltered reality of modern warfare and superpower brinkmanship. In the next minutes, you'll hear the real stories behind the headlines, the movements of warships, secret deals, precision strikes, and the human toll beneath it all. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Washington to Beijing, this is not just a conflict, it's a turning point in history. You're watching a moment of history unfold in real time. What you're about to see isn't just news, it's the kind of turning point your grandchildren might ask you about one day. Let's dive into what happened and why it matters. June 2025 began with fire. Israeli aircraft bombed Iranian nuclear and military infrastructure across the country, most notably the Arak nuclear reactor and Parchin military complex. Israeli intelligence claims that multiple targets were successfully neutralized, including centrifuge facilities and missile warehouses. Iran retaliated. On June 19th, an Iranian ballistic missile struck Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, Israel. The death toll was devastating. Dozens were killed, including children, and images of the collapsed emergency ward made headlines across the world. Iran insisted it was targeting an IDF intelligence facility nearby. Israel called it a war crime. In Washington, President Trump held marathon sessions in the Situation Room. According to leaked briefings, Trump asked the Pentagon a pointed question: can Fordo, the fortified uranium enrichment site deep in Iran, be destroyed? Military officials confirmed it could be, with bunker-busting ordnance. Trump reportedly said, "We're not here for a ceasefire. We want victory." Over a dozen U.S. Air Force cargo planes began landing in Jordan and the UAE. F-22 Raptors were spotted near Al-Sulti Air Base. American support was no longer a question of if, but when. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer issued a rare joint statement with U.S. Defense Secretary Nikki Haley. It made headlines in every major outlet. If the United States engages Iran directly, the United Kingdom will stand with its ally. The Royal Navy's Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier sailed through the Suez Canal. Submarines and destroyers repositioned in the eastern Mediterranean. But behind the military movements, there's a powerful current of caution in Europe. Prime Minister Starmer, in an interview with Bloomberg, stated, "The nuclear issue needs to be resolved, but it is better resolved through negotiations than through conflict. And so our clear objective here is de-escalation." He added that there have been several rounds of discussions with the U.S. "For me, this is a way to solve this problem." France has echoed this stance. President Emmanuel Macron again called for a diplomatic solution, emphasizing that military escalation risks regional collapse. Germany, too, is deeply reluctant to see direct confrontation. Berlin has dispatched its foreign minister to shuttle between Ankara, Doha, and Muscat, attempting to revive back-channel diplomacy. And NATO? Silent. A formal Article 5 consultation never occurred. There is no appetite for alliance-wide war. In capitals across Europe, there's a growing fear, not of defeat, but of what a victory might actually look like. The continent is split again. Beijing confirmed that President Xi and Russian President Putin held a phone call on June 19th. Kremlin sources say the discussion centered on the threat of regional instability. China sent 3 military-configured cargo planes into Iranian airspace days later. Their flight path included a radar blackout, suggesting sensitive cargo possibly signaled jamming equipment or replacement parts for downed radar systems. Moscow called Israel's strikes reckless and illegal, but stopped short of promising military aid. Putin offered to mediate, yet with Russian forces bogged down in Ukraine, it was seen more as political theater than serious engagement. Inside Iran, the regime began locking down the internet, particularly in Tehran, Mashhad, and Esfahan. These are the most severe blackouts since the 2019 fuel price protests. The goal: limit documentation of Israeli airstrikes and public outrage. But underground networks flourished, and leaked videos showed decimated military facilities, wounded IRGC soldiers, and public panic in the streets. Meanwhile, Iranian state media posted a video of a supposed nuclear warhead captioned, "Maybe." It was widely dismissed as psychological warfare, but it only intensified fears of nuclear escalation. Back in Israel, citizens are under constant missile threat. Iran has activated its proxies, Hezbollah in the north, Houthis in the south. Dozens of Israeli cities have been hit. The Iron Dome, Arrow 3, and David Sling systems are stretched thin. There are growing reports of interceptor shortages. Israel is now relying on selective targeting, allowing some non-critical areas to be hit to conserve munitions. In response, 8 U.S. C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft delivered fresh stocks of THAAD interceptors and Arrow system components. The U.S. is now the arsenal behind the Iron Dome. But the system is showing signs of strain. According to NBC News, only 65% of Iranian missiles were intercepted in the past 24 hours, a sharp drop from nearly 90% just the day before. A senior Israeli intelligence source warned that Iran's newer, faster missiles are cutting Israeli response time from 10-11 minutes down to just 6-7. These upgraded missiles are also more precise, equipped with advanced guidance systems. While Israel claims progress, the same official admitted Iran retains large missile stockpiles and the capability for sustained strikes. Talk of Iran's collapse is premature, he said. They have both the will and the means to continue. For the people living under sirens and fire, that's a chilling reality. The Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil flows, has become a powder keg. Iran has threatened to mine the strait. Global shipping insurers have hiked premiums. Oil surged to $395 per barrel mid-June, before stabilizing around $370. The U.S. Fifth Fleet and the Royal Navy pulled out of Bahrain and deployed into open waters. All non-essential personnel were evacuated. Warships are on high alert. If Iran follows through with a closure, the global economy will feel it immediately, through fuel prices, inflation, and recession pressure. Civilian casualties on both sides continue to climb. Hospitals in Israel, already strained from years of tension, now treat hundreds of trauma cases from daily missile strikes. In Iran, morgues in Esfahan, Shiraz, and Tehran report overflowing capacity after IDF airstrikes. Civilian engineers working on military contracts have also been killed, raising legal and ethical questions. A particularly shocking report detailed a failed Iranian attempt to reconstruct a missile launch site. Israeli drones detected bulldozers and engineers in the area. Within hours, the entire site was leveled, leaving dozens dead. The cost of war, always paid by the innocent. June 2025 may be remembered as the month when diplomacy finally collapsed. With missiles over cities, leaders in hiding, and world powers positioning for greater confrontation, the Middle East is no longer at a crossroads. It's in freefall. The war is far from over, but the region that emerges will be fundamentally different. Stay with us, because the story is still unfolding. This was Global Tensions. Stay informed, stay critical, stay human. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Subscribe and step into the real world of geopolitics, no filters, no propaganda. Stay updated with deep dive geopolitical analysis and join our growing community for real discussions. Exclusive interviews with fighters from Ukraine and the International Legion are coming raw, unfiltered, and only here on Global Tensions.